That photograph of that black woman with President Trump is a nightmare for CNN, MSNBC, New York Times. They have sent out a false narrative. Trump is a racist. Black people hate Trump. You see that photograph? Mm-hmm. That photograph shows a disconnect as to what the left-wing media is portraying. Newsflash, Trump is likable. Black people like Trump, and those numbers that you just pointed out, Dana, reflect a shift from the Democrat Party to Donald J. Trump, and you can see a lot more of that because that is what's happening. Look, everyone knows 4 years ago, Dana, I made the switch when Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Well, I'm still black, and I'm voting for Trump.
I don't care what the media tells you, Mr. Trump. We support you.
We love you.
Okay, 4 p.m. We've been 4 p.m.
Come here, let me give you a hug.
Please do. Thank you. Tell my mama I made it.
Look at the joy. Here to tell us about it is that young woman herself, Michaela Montgomery. She's also the founder of a grassroots political group to conserve the culture. Michaela, I've been waiting for this interview all morning.
I've been waiting for this my whole life.
So thanks so much for joining us. So you told the president when you were hugging him, I don't care what the media says, we support you. Tell me what you meant by that.
I am so glad that is the first question you asked me. Mm-hmm. So, of course, in the excitement of everything, I wasn't able to really relay my message, but the general consensus or social media would have you thinking that if President Trump were to show up to the HBCU campuses or walk around the AUC community, that like some angry mob would form or a riot would ensue and that he would not be welcome. And clearly the sentiment in that room the other day was the complete opposite. He was very welcome. People were excited to see him. People showed up in support of him. So what social media says, you know, I know they're trying to make us think we're supposed to hate you, but we don't. And additionally, it was a learning experience for my students because they were able to see and experience firsthand how the media can warp the perception of an opinion or a person. So that they would only show support for Trump because he bought chicken sandwiches and milkshakes.
It's offensive.
That in itself is the most disturbing part of it all, especially when you think about the fact that it was mainly urban media outlets that were doing everything in their power to turn other black people against these young black kids who simply were not shy to explore other options.
It's pretty interesting. Support now for Biden with black student support is 71%. It was 91% in 20. You can see President Trump taking those 10 points in his column.
Traditionally, Republicans don't do well in black America, but a lot of young black Americans like the former president. What is it about him?
I think, and this is a sentiment I get a lot coming from the young people themselves, is that they feel like he's honest. They feel like this is somebody who, while we might not agree with how he says things, how he goes about things, at least he's telling us what it is. We don't feel like this is a snake in the grass waiting for his chance to bite us. This is somebody who's telling us, this is what my plan is. Here's how I plan to execute it. Here's the people involved. And here's how you can get involved. So they just feel like he's more relatable. And I don't say that to say that, like, you know, they all relate to him. But again, he gives you that relatable feeling to where it's like, hey, I'm just like you. You know me. This is what you said you wanted. Here's what I'm going to try to do about it. They really feel like this is somebody who's talking to them and not just saying what they want to hear.
And then Biden amongst black men. He had 87% support in 2020. It is now 57% support, with Trump at 30% now, where he was at 12%. And then black women also ticking up, but not quite as much. Republicans and Donald Trump, they don't need to win all of the black vote in order to get to that 270 that Bill was just talking about. But if they get just a little bit more, then they would be able to win. And if they are able to do that in the long run going forward, that could put Democrats back on their heels. How do you see it?
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, Dana, if the Democrat Party does not receive anywhere between 85 or 90% of the black vote, there's no Democrat Party.
Michaela, what has Biden done for our community? What has he done for black America?
Well, he locked up a lot of people that look like me, and they're still sitting in jail waiting for, you know, justice, an appeal of some sort. So when it comes to what Joe Biden has done for Black America, if we look specifically at his record as a senator, it wasn't something that benefited us at all. If anything, one could argue that he dedicated his entire senatorial career to disrupting the way of life, for Black people. He didn't want Black kids going to the same school as his kids. He didn't want Black people walking on the sidewalk along with his mother and grandmother. So the fact that we ignore these things that were said on the Senate floor, like this is somebody who passed legislation with the sole intent of oppressing a certain community. And we're gonna act like that didn't happen, or we're gonna act like it can be overshadowed by somebody's comments a few years down the line that made us feel some type of way. Feeling some type of way is completely different when you can feel a certain type of way at home. There's people who are, as of right now, spending the rest of their lives in jail because, Joe Biden thought that they deserved it, as if there isn't retribution. And then you had somebody like Trump come in and give us the First Step Act to try and right the wrongs that were done with this 3 strikes rule, and nobody's talking about that.
Not see Joe Biden able to have that kind of interaction with people.
Dana, when you see Trump at these rallies, I've been to a few, I've seen them. Those people are there because they care, they like him. And you don't see that with Joe Biden. You don't see that with the Democrats. There are controlled settings among Democrats. Trump is out with the people. And what is so amazing that I have seen from the left-wing media is that they are in denial of Trump's popularity. He's winning in the polls.
But beyond being likable, Leo, what do you think, is there a policy difference that is driving these numbers?
Absolutely, Dana, and I'll tell you right now, I know this is going to hurt the Democrats, but Trump did more in those 4 years for Black Americans, lowest unemployment, fully funding Black colleges, HSBCU Black colleges. Also, the First Step Act. So Blacks prospered under Donald J. Trump. And they have a comparison between that and the Joe Biden administration, where inflation, crime, and their dislike towards sanctuary cities. See Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles.
We have this issue of a Biden decline in young voters, and you can see that he's trying to address that with forgiving student loan. And then he has a very serious issue with Black voters as well.
I think the Democrats recognize they are losing their grip on the Black vote. Listen, there are 2 reasons why Black voters are running toward Donald Trump. Number one, they remember COVID. They remember it was the Democrats who were saying you can't go to work, you can't go to your job, and you can't send your kids to schools. And Republicans were saying, we want to protect your job and we want your kids to go to school. And they also know that Joe Biden has replaced African Americans for illegals. The open border crisis is not by hop and circumstance. It is a direct attack on Black voters, and Black people recognize it. They're asking the question, why is it that Jamal is locked up, but Julio's running around doing whatever he wants to in this country with benefits from the government? It's an atrocity that's happening, and it's a direct result of the policies of Joe Biden. People are less free, they're less prosperous, and Black people know it, and they recognize it, and they're running to Donald Trump as a result.